Well, here we are at the Langstroth hive. There's a lot of activity as there was at the Lands hive. I've seen some pollen coming in. We're going to open this hive up today and just check to make sure how ready they are for winter and if I need to feed them. I also need to measure for a entrance reducer and stuff, so I'm going to spend a little more time in this hive again like I did the other one. I will bring you along as we find out what's going on in the hive. Well, here we are at the inner cover. There seems to be quite a few bees up here in the top box. I did spritz the inner cover a little bit with some sugar water just to kind of give them something to do. As with the Lands hive, I don't plan to use smoke unless I have to. I did smoke a little bit down there on myself. I didn't smoke the bees, but when I got stung, I smoked my arms, so to kind of cover up some of the alarm pheromones. So I'm going to open up the inner cover and we'll see what we've got. There are some bees up here in the upper box as usual, just hanging out. Not too many of them. I'm going to see if they've drawn any of this comb out that we've put in here, or the frames, I'm sorry, the frames out that we put in here, and I'll be back in just a moment. Now, this is one of the foundation frames, or plastic frames, that I put in here to start out with, and they have drawn out a little bit of this. Nothing new on it. I did put some wax on this frame several weeks ago, and they haven't started drawing it out yet either. It looks like they've worked the wax on some of the other plastic foundation. I've got a couple of foundationless frames that were in here they haven't done anything with, so I'm going to take those out to be able to put my feeder in. But more than likely I'm going to have to feed this colony also. We'll see what else we've got going on and get down into the lower box. While I've got you here, there's what the top of the frames of the lower box looks like. So looks like there's a pretty good population in here. We'll see here in a minute what we got. This is the other plastic foundation frame that I had put in there from the beginning, and there's nothing stored in it, but there is a few hive beetles I need to get rid of, but I'm planning on feeding them, so hopefully they'll start storing some nectar or sugar syrup in this frame. Well, now that I've got the top box off, you get a better look of what's in the bottom box here. There appears to be a lot of bees in here. I'm hoping to get them to fill these frames with nectar or sugar syrup. Like I said earlier, the goldenrod doesn't appear to be producing much nectar yet. Hopefully that changes and they can start bringing in nectar, but I am going to feed them this weekend, and just to help give them a boost. Here's another foundationless frame I've given them here recently, and they haven't done anything with it. I was told that they probably won't make new comb this time of year, but I'm hoping that the foundation frame that I give them with the wax on them, they'll draw that out and put nectar in it. So I'm going to take this one out and give them a wax foundation. Now, this is the first comb that's had any weight to it in this box. There was only two ahead of it. It's got a lot of cat brood on it yet. I think that's a lot of the cat brood that was there last week. There is some nectar and honey, it appears to be, in the comb. So I definitely will start feeding these, especially for the next week, and see what they can put away of that sugar syrup. because the first two frames were really light. The one was only partially drawn, but the other one's almost completely drawn, and it was very light. Well, there's our queen. There she goes. She's going to the other side. Oh no, she's coming back. Now she's going to go around the frame. I've inspected several frames here without doing any videoing. They've got quite a bit of cat brood on it. There is some emerging brood. That smoke, boy. I did see some freshly or young brood, young bees. They had a lot of hair on their eyes and stuff. That's the first time I really seen that. There was some open brood on the frames. Some of them that they were capping. They were going into the pupa stage. So I haven't been able to identify eggs, but I think right now the queens have slowed down on laying eggs because of the lack of nectar. So hopefully the feeding will help that, and they'll start laying those fat-bodied bees, and they'll be able to get their numbers up for the winter. Well, I've gone through all the frames. I'm going to go get the feeder. I'm going to put this back together and go get the feeder and get it put in. You can see that there's a lot of bees in the air. Today I'm just wearing a short sleeve shirt and shorts and a veil. So other than the sting I got down at the Land's hive, I haven't gotten any stings. They haven't been really bothering me. There's just a lot of bees in the air. So I'm going to close this up. The wind is picking up a little bit, or the breeze is picking up a little bit, and go get the feeder and put some feed in, and I'll be back in a short time. Okay, I've got my syrup feeder in the hive, my sugar syrup feeder, and I put a little sugar syrup on top of the feeder and the tops of the frames up here in this upper box, so they find it. Some of the bees are already finding it. So I filled it about halfway full. I didn't fill it up all the way. As I said earlier, at the Land's hive, I'll probably come back and check it tomorrow just to see how the sugar syrup is doing. And I'm going to close this one up, and I'm going to go back down to the Land's hive. I need to finish putting the rocks and stuff on top of it, but before I do that, I want to check the feeder and see how many bees are in it and how much they're working it. So I'll be back whenever I get done there, and we'll close out the day. Well, it appears there are some orientation flights going on. I decided to come back up and check on the Langstroth hive, and this is what I found. So evidently there's a lot of young bees in there, and the older bees are now getting out and ready to forage. So hopefully the nectar flow starts soon and they start bringing in some of that precious nectar.